What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're going to be redrafting the number 1 overall pick, all the way starting from the 2000 NBA draft to the 2010 NBA draft. Hopefully you guys enjoy. Before we get into the video, guys, though, sorry, in the video I did make a mistake about Kevin Durant's 3-point percentage. It actually is 38.1%. But yeah, so obviously, as I said earlier, the number 1 overall pick, redrafting that all the way from 2000 to 2010. So for the 2000 NBA draft, I'm gonna go with Michael Redd. This draft class didn't really have any top players, but the number 1 overall pick, Kenyon Martin, played a bit longer than Michael Redd and was a one-time All-Star. And Mike Miller, who was the Rookie of the Year and shot over 40% from three, he was never an All-Star. And he also did have a longer career than Michael Redd, though. However, I did pick Michael Redd because, on the other hand, Michael Redd averaged 19 points per game, 3.8 rebounds per game, 2.1 assists per game while shooting 44.7% from the field, 38% from three, 83.8% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 51.1%. He even averaged over 20 points per game for 6 consecutive seasons. Even though this wasn't the one year he made the All-NBA team, he averaged the most points in his career when he averaged 26.7 points per game. So for the 2001 NBA draft, the number 1 overall pick, redrafting it, Tony Parker. The 2001 NBA draft had Kwame Brown selected number 1 overall by the Washington Wizards, but didn't match up well. And I think, in my opinion, it also he wasn't able to develop fully and properly because a lot due to him having to play alongside Michael Jordan. Obviously, when Michael Jordan was already playing on the Washington Wizards. This draft class, though, was pretty decent with players including Tyson Chandler, Pau Gasol, Zach Randolph, Gerald Wallace, Tony Parker, and Gilbert Arenas. Even though many of these players are really good, the best is still Tony Parker. You could say Pau Gasol or maybe even someone else, possibly. But I think most people would say Tony Parker, including me. Tony Parker was part of the Big Three on the Spurs team that won 4 championships, and he even won Finals MVP in the 2006-07 season. For his career, his stats were 15.5 points per game, 2.7 rebounds per game, 5.6 assists per game, shooting 49.1% from the field, 32.4% from three, shooting 75.1% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 54.6% while playing 30.5 minutes per game, as well as averaging as much as 22 points per game and over 6 assists per game in the 2008-09 season. For the 2002 NBA draft, Yao Ming, hear me out here. This draft class wasn't too crazy, but it did have quite a few good players in Carlos Boozer, Caron Butler, Yao Ming, and LaMarcus Aldridge. So, as I said earlier, hear me out, because some people might be like, yeah, Amari Stoudemire definitely deserved it. Yeah, you could definitely argue that Amari Stoudemire should be here because Yao Ming was forced to retire from injuries. Obviously, he was 7'6", so you're way more prone to injuries when you're that tall. However, while Yao Ming was healthy, he put up better stats than Amari Stoudemire, which is why I put him ahead of him. There were also 2 other NBA All-Stars in this draft class in Caron Butler and Carlos Boozer. Yao Ming is currently already in the Hall of Fame, and I think Amari Stoudemire may join him soon as well. Yao is also an 8-time All-Star, 5-time All-NBA, and 2003-04 All-Rookie team. Even though a big part of why Yao was an All-Star even in his rookie year, actually a starter in the All-Star game, is because his home country, China, voted for him. He still deserved a lot of those selections. Not necessarily all of them, but a lot of them he still did deserve. In his career, Yao averaged 19 points per game, 9.2 rebounds per game, while shooting 52.4% from the field. 83.3% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 59.6%, while averaging 32.5 minutes per game. For the 2003 NBA draft, I think the Cavaliers obviously should have still selected LeBron James. Obviously one of the greatest of all time. This draft class was one of the most stacked draft classes in NBA history. This draft class was stacked since it included LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Chris Bosh, and Carmelo Anthony. All of these players were top players in the NBA, at least for a while. And 3 of these 4 players were once on the team at the same time. That was Dwayne Wade, LeBron James, Chris Bosh. Obviously, they were the Heat Big Three who won back-to-back championships. It is pretty self-explanatory while LeBron is here, but here are his career stats anyways. He averaged 27.1 points per game, 7.4 rebounds per game, 7.4 assists per game, while shooting 50.4% from the field, 34.4% from 3 and 69.3% from the line, which isn't great, but he definitely has improved since he came to the league. And he also has a true shooting percentage of 58.6% while playing 38.4 minutes per game. So for the 2004 NBA draft, Dwight Howard did go number 1 overall, and I think it should just stay that way. This draft class did have players like Andre Iguodala, Al Jefferson, Josh Smith, Lowell Deng, and J.R. Smith. However, Dwight Howard is the best from this draft class. I know if you haven't been watching the NBA for a while, Dwight Howard may just seem like another NBA veteran, but in his prime, he was very dominant. I know even the media acts like he wasn't, but in his prime, he was very, very dominant and was even the best center in the entire NBA. In his best years, which I just considered 2006-07 season to the 2012-13 season, you could definitely say it was a bit longer than that, but this is really just his peak. His really, really best years, not even just his best years. Even though in 2013 his career started slowly going down, obviously when he joined the Lakers, to team up with Kobe and Steve Nash, which didn't work out too well. But even after that, when he was in Houston, he was still a big part of the Houston Rockets team. But anyways, even though his career started going downhill in 2013, slowly he did during between 2006-07 season and the 2012-13 season, he did average 19.6 points per game, 13.5 rebounds per game, 1.1 steals per game, 2.5 blocks per game, while shooting 59% from the field with a true shooting percentage of 68.6% while playing 36.6 minutes per game. Honestly, that just shows how dominant he was. But if that still doesn't convince you, Dwight Howard is also an 8-time All-Star, 2-time block champ. He was also part of the All-NBA team 8 times in his career. He was part of the 2004-05 All-Rookie team, 5-time rebounding champ. He obviously did just win the championship with the Lakers, with LeBron and AD, which was really nice since after all of these years, he was finally able to win a championship. He was also part of the all-defensive team 5 times in his career, and he is also a 3-time Defensive Player of the Year. For the 2005 NBA Draft, Chris Paul. Chris Paul was, for a while, the best point guard in the entire NBA. This is also quite self-explanatory. Because Chris Paul was a top player in the NBA for a long time, and now is still a really good player. This draft class didn't have anyone that was really compared to Chris Paul. But just in case you don't know how good he really is, here are his career stats and achievements. In his career, he averaged 18.5 points per game. Well, so far in his career, he's averaged 18.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 9.5 assists per game, 2.2 steals per game, 2.2 steals per game, while shooting 48.9% from the field, 37% from three, 87% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 58.2% while playing 34.9 minutes per game. He is also a 10-time All-Star, 6-time Steal champ, part of the All-Defensive team 9 times in his career, 2012-13 All-Star MVP, 4-time assist champion, 9th part of the All-NBA team 9 times in his career, 2005-06 All-Rookie team, and he was also the Rookie of the Year in the 2005-06 season. For the 2006 NBA Draft, LaMarcus Aldridge, I just learned this like 2 months ago, but apparently Kyle Lowry is 34 years old right now and was in this draft class, even though this draft class included Kyle Lowry, just to let you guys know. But even though this draft class included Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, Rajon Rondo, Rudy Gay, JJ Redick, Brandon Roy, who did win Rookie of the Year and could have been on the top of this list if he hadn't had to retire due to knee injuries, you could definitely argue Kyle Lowry, Paul Millsap, or Rajon Rondo to be here, but in my opinion, LaMarcus Aldridge also does have the most All-Star and All-NBA team appearances, so he deserves to be here. His career stats are 19.5 points per game, 8.3 rebounds per game, 2 assists per game, 1.1 blocks per game, while shooting 49.1% from the field, 31.2% from three, 81.1% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 54.3%, while playing 34.4 minutes per game. He is also an 7-time All-Star, and was part of the All-NBA team 5 times in his career. For the 2007 NBA Draft, Kevin Durant, the number 1 overall pick was Greg Oden, who did have a very bright future ahead of him, but then he did have quite a bit of knee issues, and he also did have some knee surgeries, but due to that, he did have to retire. KD being the best here is pretty self-explanatory as well again, even though this draft class also did have players like Marc Gasol, Al Horford, Mike Conley, and Joakim Noah, who are all great players. Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers in history, being able to play anywhere from shooting guard to power forward, and maybe even point guard, possibly in center as well. Standing at 6'10" while being able to attack the paint and also shoot. Anyways, here are some of his accomplishments. He is a 10-time All-Star, 2-time NBA champ, 2-time Finals MVP, 4-time scoring champ, part of the All-NBA team 9 times in his career, 2-time All-Star MVP, and 2013-14 MVP. His career stats are 29 points per game, 7.1 rebounds per game, 4.1 assists per game, 1.1 steals per game, and 1.1 blocks per game, while shooting 49.3% from the field, 28.1% from three, with a free throw percentage of 88.3%, and a true shooting percentage of 61.3% while playing 36.9 minutes per game. For the 2008 NBA Draft, Russell Westbrook. In this draft, Derrick Rose was selected number 1 overall and probably would be here if he didn't get injured. Obviously, very unfortunate. However, he did Russell Westbrook did average a triple-double, which hadn't happened in a long time, since Oscar Robertson. Even though a big part of that is also his teammates. This draft class also included other players like Kevin Love, Serge Ibaka, Brook Lopez, and DeAndre Jordan. However, the only person you could argue is better is Derrick Rose, because during his prime, even though he got injured, he did become the youngest MVP in NBA history, winning it in his second year in the league. I think in terms of career, though, Russell Westbrook still has a better career. His accomplishments are 9-time All-Star, 2-time assist champ, 2016-17 MVP, 2-time scoring champ, part of the All-NBA team 7 times in his career. 9 times. He's also a 2-time All-Star MVP. His career stats are 23.2 points per game, 7.1 assists per game, 8.3 assists per game, with a field goal percentage of 43.7%, while shooting 30.5% from the field, with a free throw percentage of 79.9%, and a true shooting percentage of 53% while playing 34.6 minutes per game. By the way, guys, sorry for Kevin Durant's 3-point percentage. It's actually 38.1%. I wrote it down wrong, so it's actually 38.1%. Don't worry, he's a better 3-point shooter than that. For the 2009 NBA draft, Stephen Curry. This draft class was pretty good with James Harden, Steph Curry, Blake Griffin, Drew Holiday, and DeMar DeRozan. You could say James Harden deserves this, since in terms of just scoring the basketball, James Harden is probably better. And you could even make an argument saying he is better at playmaking than Curry. But Curry was also a steal champ. James Harden does have more All-Star and All-NBA appearances, though Curry does have more MVPs and has more championships than James Harden, even though he does have better teammates than Harden does. In terms of career stats in his career, though, Curry does average 23.5 points per game, 4.5 rebounds per game, 6.6 assists per game, 1.7 steals per game, while shooting 47.6% from the field and 43.5% from 3, 90.6% from the line, with a true shooting percentage of 62.3%. Curry is more efficient, better at getting steals than Harden, but I think Harden is better at scoring and possibly playmaking. But overall, I still do think Curry does deserve this spot. For the 2010 NBA draft, Paul George. This draft class included John Wall, Paul George. Sorry, I said John Wall twice right there. John Wall, Paul George, and DeMarcus Cousins, Gordon Hayward, and Eric Bledsoe. John Wall and DeMarcus Cousins are both also really good players, but I think Paul is better than both of them. But we will see how good John Wall is in the 2020-21 season when he comes back from injury. Just in case you don't know Paul George's accomplishments and stuff too much, here are his accomplishments. He's a 6-time All-Star, part of the All-NBA team 5 times in his career, 2018-19 Steal Champ, 4-time All-Defensive Team, 2012-13 and Most Improved Player. And just because of his accomplishments, don't think he isn't great on the offensive end, because he definitely is, averaging 20 points per game, 6.4 rebounds per game, 3.4 assists per game, 1.7 steals per game, with a field goal percentage of 43.3% while shooting 38.1% from 3, a free throw percentage of 84.6%, and a true shooting percentage of 56.5% while playing 33.5 minutes per game. So guys, hopefully you did enjoy that video. If you did, please make sure to give this video a thumbs up. Comment down below if you want to see any video in particular. Also, please make sure to subscribe for more content like this, and I'll see you in the next video.